does something that is normally like what I would call pulling a fast one or taking the easy route, but they're doing it in a complicated, insightful way. And that's that they are like, it's almost like what happened with Lost. Like as things are happening in like season 6 of Lost or some other very complicated show that anyone really likes, you realize they didn't plan all this stuff out. They're like reverse engineering some things to connect some things later on, right? Well, normally when sequels do that, it's annoying and they're just forcing it together. And this one, you're like, oh my God, like once you get to part 3, you're like, hold on, Amanda was actually helping him since part of the timeline of part 1.
Yeah.
Right? And because when part 2 starts, you think she's a victim. Then you realize she was helping him. Part 3 comes along. She was actually helping since the events of part 1. Hoffman comes along. It turns out that they were both apprenticing independently and unbeknownst of one another. But hold on, then movies later, you actually find out that there was a good portion of that timeline where they were well aware of one another and that all 3 of them were working very intimately together, right? And so it's like these are things that are being kind of like, again, in a writing way, it's almost like pulling a fast one, but they are covering all the bases and they are doing it to enrich, not to pull a fast one and just keep like, because like you said, he can just go to another city and kill different people, go to a different city, kill different people. And then like a Final Destination movie, not that I don't love those movies, but each one of those movies is kind of, here's just another group of people, but at some point we're going to connect it to the previous movie. But it's just like, here it is. I'm handing it to you. You have that with you as a device in your pocket throughout the whole movie. It doesn't really develop much, if at all, throughout that movie, even in 5, where in the end it brings all the movies together in an awesome way, but it's just a scene, right? At the very end. So this movie, as they keep, again, later we find out Cary Elwes was involved for all these movies when you didn't see him between like movies 1 and 7, you know, and the way that they show it to you, though, makes sense. And they do a good job because then when you go back and watch these movies in close succession, you're not saying, oh, wait, but this didn't quite work out the way they thought, you know. No, it's very tidy. It's like a jigsaw plan. It's very tidy. And he does evolve, right? Because Zepp he has a game. Right? Just like the guy in the beginning of part.
And Obi had a game too in Saw 2. He helped kidnap people, then he got thrown in the game.
And the fellow who had the chain thing where one was in the guy's jaw.
Yeah, Art.
Right.
Art
okay. Like so a lot of them start with this or even stay with this, and then others are proper disciples, and others are gamed and then become disciples, I suppose. But in the beginning, there was really no disciple. There was just Zepp being forced to do this. And 2, you don't know there's a disciple until 2 ends, right? And so and then again, we just start growing and growing. 2 disciples at once, working kind of separately. And then turns out they're working kind of against each other. And then later you learn, hold on, part of that timeline, they were actually all working together, like planning crap out together. And just then you got, you know, later, we got Hoffman, you have Jeff, you have Jill. It's so, like you said, it can seem very convoluted. I wonder, Mark, if the critics scores, right? You talked about the critic scores.
Yeah.
I wonder what the critic scores look like if you were to put them movie to movie to movie to movie to movie. I assume they generally go down.
Yeah, 5 is, I believe, the lowest.
But I'm assuming that most critics, like before reviewing part 5, I'll bet they did not watch parts 1 through 4, even in the 6 months before watching 5. And if they did, would they then rate it better?
You know,
I believe they would.
So here's the way it drops. It goes 51, 37, 29, 19, 13. Saw 6, which is a bit, it's like the Jason Lives.
Which was the best of the story arc of 4 to 6. Then.
Yeah. I mean, 6 is the Jason Lives. I mean, that's a 6-1. Right. That's good. I mean, that's a good, like the shotgun carousel. Woo-wee! And then it goes to Saw the Final Chapter, 10%. And then Jigsaw 32, Spiral 37. So it's actually kind of gone down. Now it's coming back up. I
think that that Jigsaw, which I did not think was good, by the way.
Too
I
glossy.
think that Jigsaw did better. Yeah, I don't remember caring about the characters. I could say the same about part 4, though. I thought part 4 was the worst of the first 7, in my opinion, in execution. But
with Riggs running around and like the lady of the night and the serial rapist getting killed and then the ice blocks.
We really felt the loss of Lee Wanell strongly there. But it was starting a good storyline, the 4 to 6 thing.
Mm-hmm.
It's almost like Noe's 3 to 5. You know, it's a nice, even though it's all one huge story, that's a good trilogy within this greater anthology.
Yeah.
But I think that Jigsaw and Spiral, by the way, the horror people I follow don't like Spiral.
Really? Well,
they think it's an okay horror movie, but they think it is very much a bad Saw movie. It doesn't fit as a Saw movie, is what they're saying. For the expectations Saw fans have, I suppose, would be the context that would be fair to get a asterisk to that. But I think that your Spiral and your Jigsaw are getting better critic ratings because they rely less on the elaborate web of story of their predecessors. Because Jigsaw, instead of having the story of 1 plus 2 plus 3 plus 4 ... to 6, or 7, I mean, because there's a final chapter in there. Jigsaw is kind of like, hey guys, remember all those Saw movies? Yeah, that story. We're picking up from there.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And Spiral, which I haven't seen, I'm assuming is sort of doing something similar. It doesn't rely on all these characters at all these points and your knowledge of them to properly get a rich understanding. You just need to know the Saw movies as a whole, like as a generality, I'm guessing. But Jigsaw to me felt very hollow for that reason. I fear that Spiral might do the same for me when I see it.
With Jigsaw, it's the Spierig brothers gave it a lot of sheen. And I think one of the fatal flaws of it are the main characters are just, the people in the traps are horrible, horrible people. You find out that the woman at the end killed her baby, which then led to her husband hanging himself because she blamed him. You have a guy who murdered 3 of his friends. It's just not... And then at the end, when he has the gun, she shoots herself in the face. It's just, there's nothing likable about them. So in Saw 5, I really liked Malik and Britt. I thought Britt was like a survivor, super smart. You watching Curiel's in the first one. In the second one, even Xavier and a few of those other characters, they had this anger to them. They were all framed by Donnie Wahlberg or Eric Matthews. I liked Strom in the other ones. I thought the cop character was really strong in like a Perez and all of them. I thought they were strong in 4, 5, and 6. Halloran in Jigsaw was just not a well-written villain. I do think the traps in Jigsaw were very glossy, and I wasn't really a fan. And Logan, what I don't like about the addition of the apprentice Logan is Logan comes before Hoffman and Amanda Young and all of that. And he is a doctor, but Logan is just a deep undercover splinter agent like Gordon. So maybe Jigsaw said, I am going to continue my games. You will be here for me. Just like, then you got Lawrence Gordon. So I think maybe the only way that I can rationale Logan, I don't think Logan's dead. I think Logan played the game. I think he's deep undercover. So if Gordon messed up, maybe he would have been activated to go get Hoffman. That's the only way I can rationale his disappearance. When
you say activated, I think of Jason Bourne assassins.
Exactly. Yeah, and that's the only thing I think of, though, is they added this new apprentice. And you're just thinking to yourself, I have never heard of this apprentice. But we had never heard of Gordon, and Gordon felt quite organic coming back. But the one thing that I didn't... the sheen of Jigsaw is largely gone in Spiral. Darren Lynn Bousman's back to direct it. I think Chris Rock... just watching Chris Rock in a Saw movie and Sam Jackson, it makes me really happy. I do think... You know what's interesting? I like Saw a lot. But I like Spiral a lot. I like it more than Jigsaw. I like it more than Saw 3D. And I like it more than Saw 4.
You like it more than Saw 7, though?
Yeah, more than Saw 3D.
Saw Final Chapter 3D, right?
Yeah, I got lost on Saw 3D, or Saw the Final Chapter, when Sean Patrick Flannery is a faker. and he makes money off of that. And Jigsaw goes undercover with his hat backwards and sweater, which is adorable, to talk to him. But where Saw the final chapter lost me was at the end, where Flannery had to put the hooks into his chest.
Yeah.
But what I didn't like was...
And pull himself up.
And what I didn't like was his staff lied for him. Like, they kept their mouths shut. They kept their eyes shut. They knew he was a liar. They just made money. But his wife, who had no knowledge of it, we watch her get flayed alive.
Mm.
And that to me that goes against, like, that's a hit right there. That's a hit kill. So that's not Jigsaw-y. That to me, that's not, there was a cut scene in Saw, the final chapter, where it was Jigsaw and I believe Carrie Ells in the crowd watching that buzzsaw kill in the beginning. So I think that was just he was planning this too, Jigsaw was.
Did you see that was a cut scene?
Yeah, they left it out. They're originally watching it.
I must have seen like an unrated version. I feel like I've seen that. I feel like I remember that as part of the movie.
Oh, then maybe the unrated one you watched.
Maybe that's it. Because whenever I buy a DVD that has the unrated version, I just watch that.
Got it. I watched the uncut because people pulling clips. I just watched the regular ones to make it easier for time codes. But it was just so cruel, man. I don't know. It was the opening buzzsaw kill too felt very mean. Like, this lady's played you, and then we're gonna kill her. And then they're in the commentary. They're both they're the two guys that helped Gordon at the end. I don't know if you knew that. The two guys in the buzz.
I don't remember that. I'm just not fresh enough.
Yeah, in the commentary, the buzzsaw, when it's the two guys and the lady, and then when Gordon goes and attacks Hoffman and catches him, he has two accomplices. Those are those two guys with the buzzsaw.
Wasn't there also a love triangle between them?
Yeah, so in the beginning, it was like she is being hung up, and then those two guys she plays, like they don't know about each other, but she gets them to do illegal stuff for her.
Right.
And then eventually they're like, screw her, let her die. And then those two guys become accomplices later for Dr. Lawrence Gordon to capture Hoffman. But I don't know, Saw 3D just, I don't know, it doesn't, I don't like that kill. I don't like the dream sequence. Like, doesn't Hoffman go full Terminator? Yeah, Hoffman goes full Terminator in Saw 3D.
Yeah, that's pretty a fair description, actually.
Yeah. And I don't know. Okay, this is crazy. Should I rank them? Do you want me to rank them real quick?
Okay, all right. I'm curious to hear this.
Okay, Saw, number 1.
Okay, of course.
Then I'll go Saw 6.
I like it.
Then I will go Saw... You know what? I'm going to stay at 5 because I like Britt and Malik. Saw 5. Then I'll go Saw 2. Then I'll go... Oh, man, I hate 3. But I like 3 more than 4. You know what? I'll do Spiral. Then I'll do Saw 3. Then I will do Saw... Man, 4 just bores me. I'll do...
4 is no joke my bottom. Like,
I will
it is unquestionably my bottom.
I've already said Spiral, so I'll do then Jigsaw, then Final Chapter, and then Saw 4.
See, for me, yeah, my bottom 3 would be 7, 8, 4.
Yeah. They're not... I don't know, 6... Eastman is such a compelling character, and he gets killed at the end too. But watching him go through his missions, you almost start to like the guy. And yeah,
for me, part 4 was bleh. I mean, I still enjoyed it.
But what's your ranking actually?
In the context of Saw movies, I'd say 4 was bleh, 5 was meh, and 6 was powerfully redeeming. Mm-hmm. For me, I'd go 1. So I haven't seen the whole franchise recently. This is a little tough for me to do instinctively, and I just saw 1 and 2 yesterday. So I'm going to go 1, 6, 3, 2, 5, 1, 6, 3, 2, 5, 7, 8, 4, and I haven't seen Spiral.
Got it. Yeah, Spiral is in the middle of the list for me because I never felt heights during it. But I never felt like Saw 3 or Saw 4. I mean, there's, like, in Saw 3, it's almost 2 hours, man. And just watching Jeff crawl his way through and just slowly, it's not, I like the scenes between Amanda, the doctor, I forget her name, the doctor, and Jigsaw. I like those. But at almost 2 hours, like, Spiral's a tight 90. You're in and you're out. And just the 2-hour Saw movie leaves me exhausted. So that's why I don't think I could put 3 up there. But it's cool, man. I think you and I had 1 and 6. That's neat.
Well, and, you know, if I had seen them recently, I think that the one that could shift and move to somewhere totally different is 5. But I do distinctly remember I was four was my bottom,